16th, 2024 Caroline County Broadband Advisory Committee meeting. We have some special guests with us tonight. Before we go too far into it, does anybody have any updates to the agenda that was passed around earlier today? All right, hearing no updates, we'll work through the agenda that was sent out earlier today. I'd like to welcome in Michael from Verizon, from the Caroline County West Project. He has a presentation he'd like to give, and there's a couple members from the Verizon team. Michael, I'll turn it over to you, and if you want to introduce people from your side.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Really appreciate it. I don't know, Daniel, would you be able to, are you able to share your screen? We want to walk you through some materials.
Yeah,
if not, I can.
Yeah, okay. Give me 1 second. You want to go ahead and start introducing while we do it?
Yeah, that'd be great. I'm Michael Bishker. I am Senior Director of Home Marketing at Verizon, and I'll let Donnell introduce himself.
Yeah, my name is Donnell Berry, and I'm a Senior Director of Marketing as well. My team does the execution for all the marketing programs and products for Verizon and the consumer side.
Welcome. Thank you.
It's 1 second. Mike, do you want to share your screen? Because mine is not.
Yeah, not a problem.
While they're getting their screens ready to be spun up, and it looks like they're getting ready to, I would like to just welcome these guys. Verizon has been a great partner for the VADI 2023 West projects. They continue to just knock it out of the ballpark and outperform all expectations and beat all the deadlines. So it's an honor to have you guys here tonight.
Well, thank you so much. I just want to make sure you guys see the screen
Yes.
now. Okay, great. Thank you so much. It's an honor as well on our end. As I go through these through the presentation, feel free to ask any questions that you may have. Otherwise, I've saved some time towards the end for some Q&A. And with that, I can jump right in. Starting first with our Fios Home Broadband offers, our new plans, which we actually I'll go to the next slide. Apologies. With a new plan that we launched only a few months ago, and we're calling them My Home. Bring customers home internet and entertainment in a really simple and transparent way. Our customers get the choice, flexibility, as well as value on home internet with additional opportunities to get savings on entertainment that they love. And I can walk you through how that works. First, customers would choose a Fios internet speed that matches the needs of their household. And we offer speeds ranging from 300 up to 2 gig, depending on the customer's address, that's 2 gig speed. And we have plans that start as low as $35. Across all of our plans, the customers with a qualifying mobile plan get up to $25 with a discount when they add Fios as a product. And our Fios Home, My Home prices aren't limited time promotions like other providers that expire and making bills explode, things that we're fairly familiar with. With Fios, you get the price that you see, and we also have price guarantees that range from 2 to 4 years, depending on the type of plan that you select. Also, with Fios, we don't have any hidden fees, or taxes or additional equipment charges, as routers are included in all of our plans. And also with our premium plans of gig and 2 gig, we offer whole home Wi-Fi which allows customers access to an extender at no additional cost if they so choose. And of course, we're 100% fiber optic network, and we provide customers with an upload speed as fast as their download speed, unlike many of our competitors as well. So in addition to our best-in-class and value home internet, Fios customers can also choose through exclusive perks that include top streaming services for just $10 a month. This is another level of customization and savings that's unique to us versus our competitors. And so that means, for example, and we provide a view of the services or the perks that we have offered. And so it means that, a customer can select 5 streaming services, Netflix, Max, Disney Plus, which also comes with ESPN Plus and Hulu, for only $20 a month by selecting those 2 perks. And that's a savings of nearly $14 versus that customer selecting them independently through that streaming service. We also provide customers with the option to add a more traditional live TV service in YouTube TV, which provides 100 live channels without a long-term contract at a special price that we have for $62.99 for their first 12 months of service. And so really to summarize, Fios gives customers choice and flexibility to build the right internet and entertainment package that fits their household needs, while also providing them exclusive savings on some of the most popular content and services that are available today. Now, finally, at Verizon, we believe in providing access to affordable and reliable connectivity options for those who need it through our Verizon Forward program. Verizon Forward is our continued commitment to this belief in a post-ACP world, and Verizon Forward provides qualified low-income households with discounts on our Fios Home Internet plans, reducing the cost of that 300 plan you saw to just $20 a month. And want to call out that that's the same plan that we offer all of our customers, not a watered down or lower speed or cheaper version of the plan, like many of our competitors offer for this segment. And we have ensured that we qualify as many customers as possible for Verizon Forward, but we have nearly the same eligibility as ACP. So to qualify, customers would need to meet any of the 4 criteria here that we have listed. One would be if they were ever previously enrolled in the Affordable Connectivity Program with any provider, and they could submit their previous provider's bill for us to validate. 2 would be if they qualify and are enrolled in the Lifeline program, which includes households at 135% or less of the federal poverty line, or use SNAP or other Lifeline qualified programs. 3 is if they participate in the Supplemental Nutrition Program for women, infants, and children, also known as WIC, or 4 if they receive a federal Pell Grant within a year prior to their Verizon Forward application.
That's a one-time. That's a one-time validation.
That's right.
Okay.
That's right.
Great.
And enrolling is very easy. Customers just go to our Verizon Forward site, sign up for a new service, or follow the instructions to enroll their existing Fios service, and then submit a qualifying document, then their discount is automatically applied to their plan. And through the end of this year, we're actually running a special program that provides customers who switch to Fios and enroll in Verizon Forward 6 months of service on us. So that's through that program will run through the end of the year, and service will be free, of course, if they're signing up to our 300 megabyte plan. So this is something that we're really excited about, and again highlights Verizon's commitment to connecting all customers regardless of their household income level. that's what we had to share. Would love to take any questions you guys may have.
Michael, I did have just a couple of questions. So if you, in the slide that you had where you had the different service offering levels laid out, you mentioned that there was a 300 and a 500. And we see in that the router's included at no additional cost. If I go up to gig, is that, are those routers wireless? And if I go up to a gig, I get an extender included. Is that the way I understand?
That's right. Yeah. We provide a Wi-Fi router to you at any tier level. So regardless of which plan you select, the equipment required to use that plan is included by us. So there's no additional charge that a customer would see. For customers taking gig and 2 gig plans, they would additionally be eligible for a product we call whole home Wi-Fi, which provides them access to a single extender if their household requires one. So a customer in a smaller home may not necessarily need the device. A customer in a larger home may need one, and that's included for no additional cost in the 1 gig and 2 gig plans.
All right, and then just one more question. If you could go back to the last slide, I believe. In that, the Affordable Connectivity Program, residents in Caroline County qualified if they had a child who's in Caroline County Public Schools because of the community eligibility program through the Department of Agriculture, I think it is, Jason, is that right?
Yeah, I forget the qualification for that, but it was, Title IX schools, things of that nature. Yeah.
Because our entire school system offers free meals for the students because of the qualification. So is that going to still be a qualification under the Verizon Forward program, or is that something that's not going to be included in that?
So that I'm not sure of, and that's something we can take back to.
So we continue to kind of evaluate all of the programs and the what will qualify for Verizon Forward. I know at this time that's not included, but like I said, we're routinely going through, especially as we start having more and more conversations with different communities to try to fulfill that need. So we'll definitely take this as one of the items that we can look at.
Yeah, because in that program right now, you're running at about, I think, a fifth. So of the 389 homes that are currently offered, you're running about 51% penetration in those. So we're looking for ways to help extend that. If we can get you better than 51%, even though that's a great number. And I think it's very indicative of the need for broadband in Caroline. We also, you're passing some houses that have students in them that would probably benefit from that. So I would like to say that as you reevaluate that program, if that becomes one of the qualifications or one of the qualifying features of the program, please just reach back out to us so we can help you promote that in these meetings, because we want to let everyone know about it as quickly as possible. Stephen also had a question. Go ahead, Stephen.
Yes, good evening, and thank you to Verizon for providing this presentation. It's very informative and definitely a very good thing for Caroline County citizens. When I'm around and talking to residents, a lot of them ask me, what are your plans past the VATI 2023? In specific, does Verizon have any plans to expand into areas in Western Caroline or in Caroline in general that where a broadband service provider is already in place? Do you have any plans to expand into areas to introduce any competition? That's my question.
I mean, from a growth perspective, I mean, we continue to look at expansion. We're looking to provide our service. I mean, our main goal is to have customers connected, and that's what we're going to continue to do. Having a competitor in that area doesn't discount us from trying to look at that. So we continually kind of take a look at all avenues and areas of opportunity for growth. So having a competitor in that area doesn't mean we're not going to come in. We're going to compare it and just look at the market and determine if it's an eligible place to kind of build out. So it's always on the table. I can't speak on it specifically for this county and any kind of timetable, but I know that we're always planning. We're 25, 2026 planning already. So it's opportunities, but we can also take that too as a take back to our network team to see if there are any opportunities for continued growth there.
Fantastic. And thank you again for this presentation this evening. Appreciate it.
Yeah, I will say I monitor the broadband inquiry forms, and that is a question that I get routinely. I live in a subdivision that's already served by another provider. I see Verizon working right outside the main gate. Or do they have plans to come in and give us a choice? But I will say, and Stephen's well aware, this committee knows, but just so anyone else that's listening knows, the purpose of VATI is to serve underserved houses or unserved houses. So for that reason, that grant program was prohibited from subsidizing competition. So if there was a provider in an area, they were prohibited from receiving subsidized funding from VATI to compete. So it's not, it just, Verizon didn't make a decision not to compete, but it's just prohibited in that VATI 2023. And so our hopes are that they get a good footprint in the area, and from that they can make choices, smart choices that are going to allow them to grow and maybe offer competition down the road in some areas if they choose to do that. But that is totally separate, above and beyond the purpose of the VATI grant process. So, but we do appreciate everything that you guys are doing. Does anyone else have any questions?
I'll just have one comment. I want to thank both of you guys, Donnell and Michael, for coming in and giving this good presentation. I think it gives a lot of good information to the people in Caroline County to know what's coming, especially with the ACP or the continuous of Verizon doing basically ACP on their own. And it really helps out the community to be able to provide them. And I really appreciate the comment that you made that you guys don't water down the plan like potentially other internet providers would, that you give a 300 over 300 connection. So that way it gives people the ability to do schoolwork at home and telehealth and things like that. So that really speaks volumes. I want to just personally thank you guys on behalf of the committee for all the work that you guys and Verizon as a whole has put in on Caroline County West. So thank you.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you guys so much.
Yeah. Michael, later this, a month from now, we'll be at the Harvest Festival in Caroline, which is well attended, 12 to 14,000 people most years. It's a one-day event. If you guys can get me these slides, if you can't have somebody there, we would like to we're going to invite all the providers in Caroline if they want to stop by and spend some time at the booth and meet customers or potential customers. But at the very least, if you guys can get me the slide deck, I'd be glad to have this running, in our slideshow that we'll be running throughout the day as well. So.
Yeah, if you can give us some dates, we'll definitely try to make it happen.
Yeah, October the 19th. It's a Saturday, and it runs from 9 to 4.
Okay.
But again, if you can, that would be great. And if not, if you want to send me some information, we'll be glad to help you distribute it, because Caroline County is part of that grant process. Just so the community that's listening knows, part of what we agreed to in that grant process and in the application process was to help market and help Verizon be successful in the area. No one benefits if someone fails. So we want to see Verizon be very successful in their Caroline County projects. And so, we'll continue to help you promote any way that we can.
Awesome. Thank you. Appreciate that.
All right. Hearing no other questions, you guys are welcome to stay around for the rest of the meeting, or if you guys want to go off and have family time, you're more than welcome to do that too. So,
well, again, thanks for having us.
Yeah. Thank you, gentlemen. We appreciate you coming by.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
all right. Well, do we want to touch on any of that, David, real quick, or do we want to go ahead and move on to the old business?
Oh, I think we can go ahead and move on. We'll try to make this meeting as short as possible because the rest of the agenda will go through fairly quickly. So I think we could go ahead and move on down the agenda.
We'll just call it the David Show. So first we'll start with old business with railroad crossings.
So railroad crossings, we do have a few updates. With the permits were filed, I think 2 months ago with CSX from the actual contractor that's going to be placing those crossings, and he had been waiting. He's now been contacted by CSX. They're in the process of locating the utilities that exist near the railroad tracks. Once that's complete, his hopes are that October 1st, and the way that CSX works is when they're notified at the beginning of the month that a contractor needs to work in that area. So if he notifies CSX October 1st, sometime during the month of October, everything can be arranged and the construction should take place. So short of that last one or two pieces of the utility being marked, there is a good possibility that after about 4 days of construction in Caroline, the railroad crossings could be complete as early as next month. So we'll continue to monitor that, assist if we can, and keep our fingers crossed that it all happens. Because now's the time where we're starting to get into the point where if railroad crossings don't go in place, then it's going to really start delaying the project. We haven't seen any delays as of yet because of that, but it is one area of concern that we continue to notify the state each month that is an area of concern of a possible delay. So if we can get that out of the way, that'll be one less thing that we have to be concerned with.
Well, David, I'll just add one quick thing to it. One thing that this committee did, and David helped, and the Board of Supervisors also helped push it forward, is we started the railroad crossings well ahead of the VATI grant process. So that way we weren't waiting till the last minute to try and get things in. So that's definitely speaks volumes to planning ahead. So that way we don't work ourselves or back ourselves into a corner. So
yeah, I was actually digging through the email chain earlier today, Jason, and the email chain started back in 2021.
Yeah.
How long it's taken us to get to this point. So,
and if you can only imagine if we'd have started it now, how long it would have taken, that would have definitely, or would have potentially put the project at jeopardy. So I'm thankful that the group worked together with the Board of Supervisors and everybody to keep this going and had the forethought. So
yeah, it's and we recognized, and this committee recognized early on that with the true timelines that we were hearing from other localities, that a 2-year or 3-year timeline for a railroad crossing construction does not equate with the VATI project, when the average project is 18 months to 3 years. If you're going to spend that entire time waiting on permits, it's obvious that they don't work. So for that reason, this committee decided to continue to move forward, even when we were unsuccessful in 22, in anticipation that we would hopefully be successful in 23, which happened. So it's working out, and hopefully we can identify, work on that one last area of concern that we have, and get that out of the way.
Perfect. Anybody have any questions or comments on the railroad crossing? All right. I'm going to pull out a dad joke. Let's go ahead and steamroll this right on into the VATI 2023 update with the start with West and then move to East.
So the VATI 2023 West project, it ends up that there's about 98% of all the underground fiber is in place in that VATI 2023 project area. There was one area that we were having a concern with, Horseshoe Bend Road, out in extreme Western Carolina. It was a private road. They were having trouble with easements. I worked with some of the property owners there. We were able to negotiate an option for Verizon. They looked into it. Their design and engineering and easement team went out, was able to obtain the easements across a different piece of land and take the route slightly different. Their engineering team came in and was able to redesign a plan that works with the available area. And they're finishing up that design now. Hopefully construction, it'll be turned over to construction and they will complete that construction shortly. And that project has to be completed by April, but with the timeline and with their performance, I see it probably completing ahead of schedule, even with the delay of that one area. So we've also identified a couple of small pockets that were mislabeled in some of the state maps earlier as being served that we found out that they're not. We're looking at solutions for those areas and continue to work. We're hoping that Verizon has indicated that they hope to be able to participate in the BEAD program, which is a federally funded program. And if so, they're aware of the areas. We've also reached out to some of the other providers, trying to figure out the best solution to hit those small pockets. But we are aware of some small pockets. Charlesburg Road continues to be one. And then at the very far end of Partlow Road, there's a few houses. So we are aware that there's a situation there, and we're working to figure out the best solutions. That's it for West. Do you want me to go on into East?
Sure, and I have some screenshots for pictures of update in my area when you're ready.
Yeah, you can go ahead and share those if you want. And you were correct. I think at the last meeting we were talking about, you were seeing some construction going down through what's known as the flats on Route 301.
Yep.
And that is definitely breeze line with the Caroline County East project. So they are continuing to expand the areas of underground service. There are a couple of small areas of overhead that will be necessary for them to get down to this very service box that we're seeing at Reedy Church Ruethan Club. So once they're able to get that overhead in place, then they'll be able to deliver it down this far south. And from here, they'll be able to tie to the neighborhoods and areas around this box, as well as continue further south. I know that equipment very similar to this is scheduled to be placed at the Company 5 fire station, Frog Level. And so that's their goal, is to continue south, catch that. And then from there, they will be able to service a lot of areas in that area. There's also another location for this same type of equipment at the Low Massey Park in Dawn on county property. So all those have been lined up, and hopefully we'll continue to move south. Now, what they continue to do, just so everyone knows and there's no confusion, is they're releasing work in underground areas, and they're doing as much underground work as they can. So we continue to get questions on the broadband inquiry form. I see them coming into my area doing underground work. Does this mean that we're going to be next? Well, they're working, they're continuing to work, and they're not going to stop working until the project's complete. But what it's going to take is there's some areas that require overhead. They're waiting on permitting, make-ready work, and cost of pole permits from REC. And that's obviously a delay that we've identified, again, similar to the railroad crossings to the state. Once they start getting those numbers back, what they have to do is look at it and say, okay, due to the cost of the overhead, pole make ready work, it's cheaper for us to go underground, and then they go back and redesign. So while they are putting out a lot of underground in a lot of different areas across the county, pretty much south of Sparta Road and down 301, there is an overhead component that's necessary, or that overhead component has to be eliminated via redesign. So they continue to work, and because of the timeline, now this is a 3-year project, but it's been about a year since the award was made. So we're now down to about 2 years to get that project complete. So for that reason, a delay on make-ready cost or pole permits, could hold up the project. So instead of waiting on those, they're continuing to do underground while they, are waiting for those permits to come back. Once those pole permits start coming back, and we see an area that, that has the permits coming in on time, they will make a decision to work in another area. Just like last month, we saw the Sparta area light up, and they actually have 89 homes that they've turned on north of Sparta. And so what they'll do when those permits and make ready work comes back, they'll decide which area they have enough underground in place and enough overhead permits back that they can work on another area. So we said early on that this project would be probably a little different than 21, where it seemed like the entire project dropped at the same time. These are dropping in smaller pockets as they're ready to be turned on. So the good news is that the people that, have service that can be served are not having to wait till the very end of the project. So they'll be turning them on as they go south. We continue to get questions about, hey, I see the map for the Sparta area and it stopped one house short of my house. How come? Unfortunately, when they're doing those small pockets, there's always going to be somebody right next to the area that just got turned on that may have to wait till the next group goes on. So Breezeline is working extremely hard, and they're very concerned about continuing to keep the contractors busy in the area. So rather than stop and wait for permits, if they can keep those contractors working and keep them in the area, it benefits everyone. So we're seeing large portions of underground being completed pretty much from, like I said earlier, from Sparta Road south down 301. We'll continue to see that, and as soon as we know about the pole make ready work and permits coming back, and we know which area is going to be turned on, of course, we'll be sure to let you know. That's why this committee, these meetings, the county website, the broadband questionnaire button on the website continues to be the best place to get accurate information about the status of the project, as well as a couple of events that we'll discuss next, that we will have representation at those events. And so if you see us set up, come ask us questions and we'll tell you what we know. This committee, we're not trying to hold back any information. We're making that as readily available to the public as possible, and as many different ways as we possibly can. So that's where we're at with East.
Good news. It's good to actually see that construction happening, and the pictures that Jacobus had was definitely promising to see the one that said okay to connect. So, so things are moving forward.
Just while we're looking back at that presentation, if I could for just a second, one thing that a lot of people have to realize, if I lived in that project area and I called Verizon to get a connection, the people on the other end of Verizon may think, well, if you're in a Comcast area, you would have to go with a 1 or 2 gig connection to actually improve your connection. But one thing that we have to remember is that since these are being offered to houses that have no connection, that 300 over 300 is a great connection. In fact, for the longest time, the fastest speed that I could get from my provider was 300 down over 20 up. And I was paying a lot more than $49 a month for that connection. So just remember that if you live in that area and you call in, you may be encouraged to go faster, but if you've had either no connection or you're using a MiFi or some other type of connection, 300 over 300 is a good connection.
No doubt.
Yeah. I'll take it right now. I mean, I like my Starlink and everything, but the most I've gotten has been about 210 megs over about 30 megs. And that's the thing is you're doing 300 megs over 300 megs. So that upload speed, everything is symmetrical, which was, I was glad to hear that's the way they were doing it.
Yeah, and it's kind of neat to see. And that is another common question that we get through the broadband inquiry form is, what about TV? It does appear that Verizon in that FiOS package is not offering a TV package along with it. Maybe, another part of that VATI grant is they were subsidizing internet bills to unserved people. They weren't really in that whole package. VATI pretty much prohibited or refused to subsidize a bill to deliver TV. TV is not really, what that whole program is about. It's about internet. But what we are seeing across the board is that a lot of providers that have been cable TV companies in the past are starting to go away from that and just becoming internet companies because the competition in streaming benefits the community. If you have multiple providers offering packages, sometimes one package works better for you than another, and you can get a smaller package that has what you want at a cheaper price. So
it's nice that they offer YouTube TV or a discount to YouTube TV, and I know that that's what we use here at my household, and it does really well. I believe they mentioned 100 live channels, and it's a good service, and it follows you if you're on travel. So whether you're in North Carolina or Arizona, you can sign into your account from your hotel or wherever you may be, and you'll have access to your TV. And so that's a plus that they do offer YouTube TV at a discount.
And Stephen, I have a question for you.
Yes, sir.
With that YouTube TV package that you have, you also have local channels, correct?
Yes, absolutely. That's part of the setup process. So you have access to your local channels. And if you happen to be on travel, it'll ask you where you currently are, and it'll adjust those local channels to your local area. But I use it whenever I'm on travel, and which is every couple weeks. And it's nice to have access to the things I like to watch, whether they're local or. And one of the things I like is that they have a DVR service, and so you just didn't make a show that you want to watch. You can just set the DVR and it'll just record it for you and you can watch it later.
And David, I'll add one thing to that because that was one of my issues when I had a satellite television provider that was providing me television via satellite. Every single room that I wanted to add a receiver in cost an additional fee of like $10, $15 per room, depending on if I wanted standard definition or 1080p, which is high definition. With YouTube TV, as long as you can use a Chromecast, you can use an Apple TV, you can use screencasting software, you can plug your computer into your TV. You don't have to pay for each individual TV. So that'll actually help out too with people's bills, especially with the reduced fees that Verizon was looking to offer.
So yeah, and YouTube TV continues to be a very popular choice for a lot of people that are streaming TV. So I think it's going to be difficult for some of us, especially if we're a little older, to understand how a cable TV can go from being a cable TV company to an internet company. But if you look at the demand and the reason why, then it makes sense. So if they can get you a good internet connection, and again, 300 over 300 will handle streaming just fine. Um, if you can get a good internet connection, then the number of choices of TV packages or providers is just endless and continuing to grow every day. So it makes sense for everybody. All right. I think that wraps up East and West, as well as just kind of a recap of some of the points that were made in the presentation. Jason.
All right. So we can move on to new business. David, do we want to discuss? I know that you invited Verizon to the Bowling Green Harvest Festival, but we should go ahead and probably send them also the frog level dates also, because there could be people that are coming from that or the western side of the county to that parade that might want to get that information. At least we should have their presentation available to present there.
Yeah, and these guys that were here with us tonight is in addition. They're part of the team that I've been working with, and so Verizon Marketing has been provided both dates, and hopefully they can, at the very least, give us some materials to pass out. But Verizon Marketing in general, as well as BreezeLine, are well aware of those dates. So I just figured we'd try to put a little extra pressure on them since we had them on the spot tonight. So if they want to show up, but I have made them aware that the Bowling Green Harvest Festival, with just the sheer number of people, will have some of their potential customers in. But I've also made it, aware, made BreezeLine aware of the fact that it's right in the center of their project areas. So they, should definitely, both of these events are also, in the center of the BreezeLine, the Caroline Valley 23 East project. So that's why we're going to be there. But in all fairness to the providers, we'll pass that. We'll make that invite available to everybody. We don't want to cut anybody out. We want to be fair to those providers and offer them a chance to promote their services. I think, part of our interest in having Verizon in here tonight was to discuss. We're now in the post ACP era. ACP is gone. News reports kept saying that the Affordable Connectivity Program bill is going to be introduced or may refund it. At this point, I don't see that happening. It's been how many months, Jason, since that program went away? Going on 6 months, right?
Yeah, it was ended in March, April. Yeah.
So what we are seeing is the providers kick up and offer low cost packages. So we want to try to bring those options to the citizens of Caroline, make them aware of their options. We are talking with BreezeLine to see if they can have a team come in at a future meeting like this and discuss the options that they have. And of course, we'll extend that to Comcast that has, very similar offerings to help kind of offset the pain of the ACP program going away. So we're trying to just make everyone aware that there are options. Even though ACP is gone, there are some low cost options that can help you get internet. Our hope is that we can get as many people taking advantage of an internet connection as possible, because studies have shown in areas across the country with higher numbers of internet connections that schools perform better. So it will have a good effect on the entire community, and that's why I'm very happy to be part of this group that's trying to help just make people aware of their options. All right, Jason.
Well, do we want to talk about the different harvest festivals and the staffing, or?
So we do have on October the 19th, 2024, from 9 to 4, we will be at the Bowling Green Harvest Festival. Thanks to Jeff Voigt, our YouTube guy that's streaming here tonight. He helped steer me in the right direction, and we were able to get all registered for that. So we will definitely be at the Bowling Green Harvest Festival on October the 19th. To the members that are in this meeting, feel free to stop by. Come on, make a plan and stay a little bit. I will more than likely be there from beginning to end, but we would like to have participation from this committee as much as possible. Also, if you're a citizen watching the program, feel free to stop by with your questions.
I'm going to have a tent for my own nonprofit, but I requested it to be next to yours so we can I can double duty, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah, and that worked out for everyone down at the Frog Level parade that I was.
Yeah, well, I'm going to do this at Bowling Green Harvest Festival as well.
Is it going to be hot peppers?
Oh, you know it.
Looking forward to it. That was always fun.
Oh yeah.
And so then the very following week, from 9 to 12, we intend to be at the Frog Level Fire Parade. We'll get registered for that. So we will be at 2 locations. That Frog Level Fire Parade I see advertised as 9 to 12. Is that correct, Jason and Jason?
It's usually around that time. People usually show up at 9. The parade starts, I want to say at 10. And then it goes on. There's also an after, concert and stuff like that they have live music and so forth, so on. So 12 o'clock is kind of the end time, but it could go longer than that.
Now, I didn't make it to that parade last year, but the last time that I made it there, I remember talking to several citizens, and that's it. They were saying, and that was before the 22 application had been announced, and unfortunately we were unsuccessful. But Jason and Jason, we all heard multiple times that it was never going to happen, and now we're here to say that it's happening.
Actively happening.
It's actively happening. So that's kind of why we kind of changed our logo from Got Broadband ? To Got Broadband ? Period, exclamation mark. So we're probably about halfway through those 2 periods, and waiting and heading to the exclamation mark where we can say that the projects are complete and we have universal coverage in Carrollton. So, all right, Jason.
So looking at the calendar, it looks like our next meeting would be October 21st at 7 p.m. We want to do that in Zoom?
Yes, sir.
All right. Do we have anything else that we want to cover?
I'd like to thank everybody for taking time out of your busy schedule and coming into the meeting tonight. And again, we strive to keep these meetings in an hour or less, and we're continuing to keep up our streak. So
there you go.
I would move that we adjourn.
All right. Do I hear a second? We'll do it that way. We'll do our first official vote.
I second.
All right. So we got it properly seconded. Everybody that wants to stick around, stick around. Otherwise, we can all go.
Thank you. Bye.
Have a good night.
Thanks, everyone.